Well, good afternoon, folks. Thanks for checking out my video and hearing me out on my career presentation matrix. So I have my career planning matrix actually open in front of me, so hopefully it doesn't create too distracting um, as eye contact. I'll look to cram as much as I can. So if you're looking at my matrix there, you can see I just started out in essentially, last year. That last year is kind of when I started my job. I was in construction for a number of years. My family had a construction business, and then I came back to school. I was to build houses and quite a few different things before that. I decided to come back to school, and so basically in 2015 is when I got my undergrad and worked for approximately 9 months or so. Then decided to go ahead and go for my master's as well. And my undergrad was in engineering. Excuse me. And then also my master's will be in engineering as well. So I'll Master of Science in Engineering, Mechanical Engineering. So that's and one of the compelling reasons that I did that was the fact that my work is paying for the master's through a program they have. So that's why I just went ahead and just went full tilt for that. Just get that out of the way. Anyway, so then the next, as you can see there, my career planning matrix, I hope to have that done next year. It should be done. I'm on track to have that done by the summer of next year. And by 2020, hope to be a project or even a people manager, and hopefully within engineering. After that, I'll just kind of go in increments, just since that's the first graphic there on my career planning matrix. Board involvement in 2025, kind of some others I think have done as well, approximately 5-year increments or chunks. So board involvement, uh, preferably preferably within business, maybe a side business or collaborating with another business or organization. I think that would be pretty exciting. And then my next goal would be a professional engineering license, and that requires a passing an FE exam as well. I just we've been discussing about not being admitting failure during this, and I actually took the FE exam last year and I failed, so that was pretty kind of depressing because you can't do your PE until you get your FE done. So we're working on that. So that's a kind of a challenge. Yeah. 2035, start a business, probably another business, somewhere in this time frame. I probably will start. I want to start maybe a small business of some kind, and then maybe that'll grow or get into something larger as my career progresses. And 2040, you can see there, like have laid out consulting, maybe some more board work, uh, possibly for a large organization, depending how where my career takes me at that time. And then 2055, retire, and then I have then just beyond that, who knows? So I just wrote fade into the sunset, whatever year that is, hopefully quietly and gracefully. Um, Going with the metric or the kind of the standard class format. So the first thing we've been discussing is differentiation, and I believe my combination of the skill set that I bring with having worked in different labor fields, construction and cleaning and just different areas. Um, we kind of, and then I went back to school, so it gives me kind of a neat perspective, I believe. Um, so kind of been around the block. So I had, as my matrix also says, I was in the academic, so I was, a laborer and carpenter and builder, and then I did some academic work for a number of years in school, kind of, and then a little bit beyond that, and now more of an straight up office job. So I believe that gives me a pretty well-rounded view, at least in the things that I'm interested in seeing a lot of different sides and understanding a lot of different perspectives or the different perspectives people have that are actually out there making things work, whether it's a utility line worker or why an engineer drew a certain drawing a particular way, or people that are cleaning the bathrooms or whatever. I've done quite a I've done all that actually. So I definitely get this. There's different things that come up in my work and life that seems to always those perspectives just helps me. I think it just makes me a more well-rounded person. And let's see, future skills to obtain. I listed there master's engineering. Like I said, hopefully get that in 2017 next year in the summer. I'm really interested from my background in construction in more uh, building. I like building. I like architecture and building technology, new technology, energy saving technologies. So hopefully I'll become green building certified. Like I said, I hopefully get a professional engineering license. Maybe I'll become an engineering consultant after I get a lot of experience under my belt. And then not so much as a career move necessarily, but then I hope to play the piano. Um, I love the piano. It's such a big instrument, so powerful, beautiful, and something I've always wanted to do. Employment. Um, we're not gonna again, or not again, but I don't want to just read off the career plan matrix. So obviously, I'm going to elaborate a bit on some of these things. Like I said, I was in construction for a number of years. Now I'm basically not really focused on focus looking backwards, more forwards here. So I was working for one company, didn't really give me where I wanted to go after graduation, so I started working as an engineer in Eden Prairie, where I'm at now. So the path forward, hopefully, I will become a senior engineer soon. My boss talked to my boss the other day about it, and he said, "Well, we'll look at it within a year or so." And I was like, "Well," I basically told him straight up, "I'm like, well, 6 months would be make me a lot happier." So we left it at that. Well, we'll see where he goes with that, and hopefully maybe become either a product manager or an engineering lead or R&D. So I hope they branch out. You branch out and also maybe take on more responsibilities within my engineering roles, and we'll see where my company. There's a lot of opportunities there. There's the culture is not the best, and we've gone through all these different leadership examples of valuing people and servant leadership and path goal leadership and these different things. I see elements of it. I see on a personal level. I see some of my bosses exhibiting these things, but definitely culture is there's definitely some toxic elements. So that's a challenge. Makes me question whether I should continue there or how long I should continue. Is probably the more appropriate question. Um, Service. So that's always a that's always a good one. Um, I've my family was my ex and my dad had cancer, so and my sister actually had cancer as well. So we've been involved just from a personal level and involved in cancer-related activity, cancer awareness and those types of things. I was a tutored math and science tutor, Habitat for Humanity, United Way. I've participated or done some different elements of those. So I definitely hope to continue that. I've been so busy of late that I haven't. It's kind of been fallen by the wayside, since I don't have extra time to like dedicate or allocate those extra times. But hopefully that'll become a more regular feature of my life. Is maybe when it stabilizes. But time is always precious, and many people have talked about that. Leadership goals. Um, as I say there in my matrix, I hope to be basically there's a lot of these definitions and there's different ways of looking at different approaches, and I hope to find essentially the way that um, the leadership style that I'm strongest in, and I can overcome my own weaknesses, whether it's impatience or um, not taking the time to talk to everyone or not seeing everyone's perspective. I just want to make a decision. So that's definitely weakness, and hopefully overcome those types of things. And hopefully, when after all is said and done, I basically hope people that are working around me or underneath me feel inspired, feel like they were led. I wasn't an impediment to their progress or to the job's progress or whatnot. It was a pleasure to work with me, and we got good things. And I facilitated good and great things, to make that happen. So that's kind of I guess the yardstick that I would use to measure whether I'm an effective leader or not. So I hope the different ways, avenues you can get there. Hopefully I am that kind of leader at the end of the rope here, at the end of my career. Um, as I touch on real briefly, excuse me, the character traits that appeal to me, humility, kindness, motivation, inspiration, candor. Those things all appeal to me personally. I definitely appreciate when on the receiving end. And then also the types of leadership, servant leadership. That's obviously it's been a popular one in the class, but It's not just because it's trendy, but I think it's highly appropriate. Adaptive, responsive type leadership, whether it's generational differences or personality differences, definitely be flexible, and empathical leadership as well. Work-life balance, um, that's obviously critical. That's definitely not totally hammered out. I want to, again, I want to get, or not again, but I hope to. I'm working hard in my work and my um, education right now to, yeah. So when I start family, which is hopefully soon, then that is out of the way, and I can focus on, being a good dad, good husband, and then of course education. As many leaders, as other speakers have said, it's an ongoing process and never stops. So naturally, I like to learn. I like knowing new things, and so that one's not necessarily an issue for me. I just like kind of a passion for that type of thing. And then finally, to conclude here, not to ramble on too long here, a lot of powerful recommendations from different speakers. Good, many have very valuable perspectives. Some of them spoke more to me than others. I think naturally somewhat have an entrepreneurial streak, independent, entrepreneurial, and so some of the speakers were from that perspective as well. So I was pretty excited about those things. But all of them had good leadership nuggets to give to us, and I've taken something away from every speaker. And then if I would just read or look over my matrix, my career planning matrix here, don't be afraid to fail. It'll make you stronger. I've definitely failed a few times, and there's times where I've come back, and sometimes where other ways I fail, I find a way around it. So there's generally a way forward, either through it or around it, and you can make progress. Learn how to delegate. I think that's one thing I struggle with, and which is, it's like I said in my matrix. It's easy to say, but it's really have to learn how to do that appropriately. Be adaptive, ready to pivot to new opportunities, whether it's a business or even within your own organization or personnel. Be ready to jump on those opportunities and take advantage and make good progress. And there are no perfect leaders. I guess kind of the option like, oh yeah, there's always these perfect leaders out there, but they all had their struggles, all had their foibles, and it's all about overcoming those personally and professionally. And you can, again, hopefully you can become that leader where you helped a lot of people. And then I guess the final thought, the final kind of concluding thought is, as the first movie we watched was, to be a good leader, you can take care of people, have kindness and show humility, but then you don't have to be, really buddy best friends with these people. The best leader, the most kind thing you can do, and I think it was actually touched on in the class a number of times, is actually the kindest thing you might be able to do is be firm, is mandate, or say we will get good results. This is what expected, and lead your team that way, and they can overcome a lot of obstacles and actually come out ahead that way. So thank you for watching, and please feel free to give feedback.